Wow, I can't wait for y'all to see this episode today with Brad Sumrok. This guy has owned over 87 apartment buildings, over 11,000 units, has shared the stage with Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, and now he teaches and coaches other people how to escape the corporate rat race just like he did. Y'all, you got to check this episode out. It's one of the best we've done. Brad, welcome, brother. Hey, thank you so much for joining me on the Elev8 Event Series Podcast. Brad, I'm honestly really excited to learn so much more about your business. I know you're big in the real estate game. I think we have a lot to talk about there. I see you doing a lot of coaching, and I'm really just looking to get to know you a little bit more. So thank you so much for coming on. I see 1.2 billion in real estate funded, maybe some I see a 1.2 billion. So I'm excited to learn more about that. So everybody watching this, stay tuned. We're going to learn a lot about Brad today.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So Brad, let's get right into it, right? So you host your own events. Let's talk about that. This is the Elev8 Event Series Podcast. So I'm a big event guy. So I love hearing about other people's stuff.
I do. And it's interesting is I never thought I'd be in the event business. Like my background is like corporate, like neither of my parents finished college. I became an engineer, then got an MBA, tried climbing my way up the corporate ladder, had some successes, had some setbacks. I was fired once, laid off once. And after 14 years in corporate America, I got into real estate. And I could talk about that as well. But after 10 years of being a successful real estate investor, specifically in the multifamily arena. So the smallest property I ever owned was 32 units. And I got to a point where I had over 11,000 units as an apartment investor, but never thought I would be doing events until I started going to like Tony Robbins events, for example. Like I started getting into self-improvement and wanted to have a better mindset and a better life. And so I heard about this Tony Robbins guy, right? And other people like him. So I started going to conferences and then I watched what they were doing. And I thought, I could do this in my area of expertise. So in 2013, I hosted my very first apartment investor training weekend, which my live events, whether they're in person or on Zoom, and I do both virtual events and in-person events now, and I've been doing that since 2013, but it was all around the area of teaching people the step-by-step process of starting and scaling into the apartment investing business. And of course, my events have evolved to have more than that. So like I'm launching a podcast this year called Apartment Investing and Beyond, because what I'm most known for is apartment investing. It's really about like, what does apartment investing give you? And why do people invest in apartments, right? Do we invest in apartments because we love apartments? Yeah, well, maybe we do. But I got into apartments because I wanted the outcome, right? I wanted cash flow. I wanted my net worth to go up. I wanted my taxes that I owed to the government to go down legally. So I got into apartments because it was a vehicle to achieve financial freedom. And so that's what my core event is actually called Rat Race to Retirement, Harrison, because it's my personal journey from the corporate rat race. And you may have heard that story about like feeling like you're in a rat race, right? Going to work every day, hating Mondays, Wednesdays over the hump day, Friday, woohoo, it's the weekend, right? And then you do it all over again Monday. And so I spent 14 years in that trap, and I was able to get out by investing in apartment buildings. And so that's my whole thing. And those are my two businesses, as I buy and invest in apartment buildings. And then I help other people buy and invest and scale in their apartment investments.
That's really amazing, and resonate with your story 100%. I'm sure a lot of people out there do, right? It's the corporate grind is such a, you hate to wake up every day and not love what you're doing, and it sounds like and I know people like yourself, people like me I love coaching and developing people. And when I figure something out, I love to bring other people with me. Is that kind of how you got in the coaching?
Absolutely. Well, look, I started with a coach. I actually had 14 years of struggle again, ups and downs, moderate success, lots of setbacks in corporate America. And so when I got into real estate, like I got into real estate because I read Robert Kiyosaki's books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And you may have heard of those books. Bill Walsh just talked about it yesterday that he co-authored with Sharon Lechter, right? And so I read that book and I was like, wow, I want to get into real estate, but I didn't know where to start. So I was living in Houston, Texas. And back then, there wasn't social media. It was just regular media, newspaper, TV, radio, magazine. And so I saw ads, printed ads about a real estate investing seminar where you could retire from your job, lessen your dependence on the stock market, your IRA, your 401k. And these are all my vehicles for success and retirement. So I go to this event. And it was $500. And at the end of the event, the guy offered a mentoring program. And honestly, I was skeptical. I was reluctant, but there was something that resonated in my brain. And I just said, what if, this actually is legit? Like, what if this actually works? And I met the guy that was doing the event and he had 300 or 400 units at the time. And so I'm thinking, hey, if he could do it, I could do it. Like what one person could do, another person could do. And so I started with a coach and I had success. And then I had other coaches, Tony Robbins was a coach of mine. And so like my investment in coaches, mentors, and masterminds have been the best investment in my life.
Can't agree more.
And if there weren't people, Harrison, generous enough to do that, like, you know what? One of the things that rubs me is people say things like, oh, those that don't do teach.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I can see that, because, in our business, there's a lot of coaches that like maybe they had one success and now they're coaching other people to do it. Right. But at the end of the day, like if it wasn't for the guy that was generous enough to spend his time teaching others how to do real estate, I may have never done it. Right.
Yeah.
So you look at a guy like me now that coaches people like you, like Bill Walsh, like it's not a hobby, like it's a passion.
Yeah.
And people ask me, why do I love coaching and mentoring people? And I'll tell you, doing apartment buildings puts money in my bank account, but coaching people and seeing their success like puts a deposit into my soul.
Yeah.
It's not about the money, even though it's a profitable business. But it's not about the money. And of course I charge for my programs, right? Because there's value in them. But I never got into coaching and mentoring for the money.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, anyone that says that the people that don't, know what they're doing become coaches, right? Like anyone that says that and thinks that coaching is somehow easier than doing the thing itself is probably hasn't been a coach before, right? Like
Yeah.
coaching and training and mentoring people I wouldn't say it's exhausting if you love to do it, right? But it can definitely be exhausting and it's certainly time consuming teaching somebody else how to become you, right? And so everybody deserves to be compensated for their time. I think the most valuable asset, right, that we have, I was in a mastermind the other day and he said the two ways to get anything going, right, is time and money, right? Those are your two assets that you can invest. So if you're investing time in people, you should obviously definitely be compensated for that. And coaches do get paid pretty well nowadays. And I think that the educational system, which is I'm so glad to see, has really changed because I know the best money that I've spent have been on coaches and mentorships, people that are actually doing it. I will tell you, if I would have spent my Big Ten business school college fund on coaches and mentors, I would have a lot more commas in my bank account right now. And I wish I would have known about all these coaches and mentors when I got into college in the first place, because coaches and mentors really teach you how to do it. And you're learning from guys that are actually doing it, right? These professors at college probably did it at one point, or they have to submit a curriculum. And people don't understand that like business and real estate is ever evolving and changing. And I feel like coaches like that are actually doing it, like yourself, that are currently investing, you can bring somebody that's right behind you, and take them to the place that you are. So I'm all for coaching and mentoring and training. And I think it's so great to see nowadays that it's actually even available, because I didn't know about it when I was getting out of high school.
Yeah. I mean, me neither. Like if you think about it, Harrison, like my first coach unofficially, it was my parents,
Yeah.
they weren't coaches, but they influenced me, My father never finished college, and neither did my mother, and they would tell me things like, "You gotta get a degree, you gotta go to college." You know, my father worked for an engineer, and he made 2 times as much as my dad, and so they were like, "Be an engineer, they make a lot of money." And so my parents guided me, in other words, coached me, mentored me, to
Yeah.
become an engineer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because, it was really because like, hey, that from their frame of reference, my dad's boss made a lot of money and their family traveled to Hawaii for vacations. And my family, like I grew up in Pittsburgh, we traveled to Lake Erie for our summer vacations.
Thanks, baby.
So like my first set of coaches, coached me to become an engineer.
Yeah.
And then I had a boss at work, but he was kind of a coach. And I told him I wanted to move up. And he said, "You need an MBA." So I went and got an MBA. And, that worked out okay. I made more money, but it didn't give me the freedom and the fulfillment that I was really seeking. So if you think about it, like we all have coaches and mentors. Some of them are friends and some of them are parents, or it might be that uncle or aunt or somebody that you look up to and take advice from. Maybe your college professor or whatever. But yeah, like in today's dollars, I probably spent $500,000 on my engineering degree and my MBA. $500,000. And
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah. And then think about what if you would have spent 500 grand on coaching, like on coaching, your dollar goes
right.
more. Like we talk about Bill's programs all the time, right? It's like, dude, for 75 his good program, $7,500 for Rainmaker, you can literally start a business from scratch and be making money right away in your immediate turnaround versus, spending 4 years in college, maybe 5, 6 if you're like me, and I hate going to school in the first place. So that was, I just being able to do like get I love coaching because it's like, here, I'm going to show you how to do it. Now go do it. You can only learn so much by studying a textbook and knowing the answers to the quiz, and then you actually have to go do it. You have to go do it. I would say for people like me, but really anybody out there, you have to go do the thing and then fail at it and then get better at it and be able to like have people to bounce ideas off of and give you that real time feedback. So I know for me personally, I just had my first daughter, and I know if she wants to go to college, she can apply for grants and scholarships, and that's can be her thing. But if I am gonna put some money aside for her when she's ready to start a business. Like, here's 100 grand to go start a business. Like Charlevoix, here you go. And so that's my plan for my kids is not you don't have to go to college. I'm gonna put some money away when you're ready to start a business because I just see actually doing the thing is so much better than learning the thing.
For sure. And look, there's some careers that college is a good thing. Like if you want to be a doctor, an accountant, and an engineer. But I don't have children, but I feel like in my experience is far too many young adults go to college just because it's the next step, and they have no clue what they want to do. They're studying, they're not studying something specialized. I was going to be politically incorrect and say they're studying liberal arts or something like that. But I guess if that's something you're really passionate about, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. But I feel like so many people go to college just because they're confused and they're young, and rightfully so. Like how many people at 18 have absolute certainty about what they want to do with their life, right? So like my nephew is, when he was 18, he didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. So he got a job, and now he's 23 and he has clarity on what he wants to do with his life and he's going to school for it. But like he knows what he wants to do and he worked for 5 years. And so he's got money and he's living on his own.
I think that's the way to go, right? Like, I feel like out of college, you should have to go work like 8 semesters worth of internships and figure out what you want to do or what you hate the least or what you love to do, right? Like, I did accounting. Originally my degree was in accounting, and I did one internship with my mom who's a CPA and one audit, and I was like, I never want to do this ever again. I hate taxes, I hate auditing. This is not for me. And I really feel like college, the first 2 years or first 3 or 4 years should be like actually working with people and doing stuff, and then figure out what you don't want to do, and then when you really are passionate about something, like now I'm passionate about sales and marketing, right? And events. Like now that I'm passionate about that, like I got into sales and marketing mastermind this last year, and it's taken me to the next level of like just being able to actually put together contracts. And I wanted to learn, and I didn't mind spending 10 grand on this program because it was something I actually wanted to do. And then the learning is not as hard because it's so much more valuable. But I really feel like the education system should go to more of that route where you have to go in and work for a couple years and figure out like what you want to do and then go back and get specialized.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Switching topics here. Got a couple questions for you. So how do you currently get clients, Brad?
Well, lots of ways. So, I've been, and let me define a client. So in the investing arena, clients are investors because I find deals and I raise money, right? So I have one set of clients that would be known as investors, and I would have another set of clients that I would refer to as my language around that is students. So like people that learn from me, people that buy my online courses, come to my in-person events, pay for my high level mentoring and mastermind programs and communities and stuff like that. So those are my customers. And so how I get them, even from when I started at my first event, I would go around to in-person events, right? Like, so I would go to in-person events. I meet people. I would develop connections, right? So there's networking, there's the comment of like your net worth is your net worth. I built a CRM system way back then. Now I have tens of thousands of people in my CRM system, right? Or in my database. So I have what's called organic leads, right? I have free newsletters. I give out free content. I have opt-ins all the time where people are opting in, not buying anything. They're opting in for free to watch a free educational webinar, get my newsletter, learn more about multifamily buildings. I have a LinkedIn presence. I have a Facebook presence. I have 337,000 followers on Instagram. So I've built this up over the years, and I call this organic leads. Okay. So I get clients organically from putting out free content. And then oftentimes in between all the free stuff, I invite them to maybe a free event. And then from the free event, invite them to a paid event. And then after they learn from me from 2 days, have them pay a little bit more to be in a 3-month or 6-month or 12-month program. So this is called an ascension model, right? And so I have organic. I also do paid ads. I don't like it, but I do paid ads, and we get, we run ads to free webinars, paid ads. And some people don't get this, but like I spend money, just say like last week, I spent $1,500 last week just driving people to a free webinar.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting 200 leads from that. So then you measure things called cost per lead. And then a certain percent of those people are going to go from something free to something paid. So we have organic, we have free, I have referrals, I have clients that refer people. And then I have what I call referral or affiliate partners. Like, so people that know me and believe in me. So like Bill Walsh could be an example. Like Bill, when he speaks at my events, he also promotes them. And so, and I speak at Bill's events and I promote them.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to speak at Bill's event, he'll ask me, hey, promote this to your tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And then I do the same with Bill. He does the same for me. And so look, it's an abundance mentality there, because not everybody that comes to my events is going to want to work with me. Maybe they don't want to do apartments. Maybe they want to learn about business. And so then I bring in a guy like Bill and he's like, oh, this is great, Brad. Like, I loved your conference, but like, I got to meet Bill and now I'm training with him and vice versa. So, again, just to break it down, I have organic, I have free content, I have social media, I have an email database, I do paid ads, I have referrals from my clients, and I have what I would call affiliate partners where we do cross promotions.
Yeah. So you got, you like, anybody listening to this right now, that's textbook pretty much. You got all your bases covered and you can see it with your social media following. Kudos to you. Do you currently, I am in Dallas, right? So I always ask people this question on the show. Like, do you currently have a Dallas presence? Where are you located at like, where would you say you're from?
Well, it's funny. And the other thing, when I do want to add this in full authenticity and transparency, is I have a sales team as well.
Yeah.
So it used to be that I could do an event and just make an offer from the stage and people would go to the back of the room and enroll in a high priced program. the way things are now in this economy in 2026, 2025 is people want to talk to somebody, not they want to talk to current students, they want to talk to current clients. And so I also have paid commission salespeople, right? So as leads are coming in, we have a system where people come in to like a free opt-in or watch a free webinar. I also have a setter and I have two salespeople that, we're booking calls and talking to people all the time, every day, or say Monday through Saturday. So that's another way we get clients. And it helps because, sales maybe has a bad word out there for people listening, but they're really supporting people to better understand my program and my system and if it's right for them or not, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
so I call them like they're salespeople, but I call them like my concierge, high touch, white glove service, people on my team because they're the ones that are going to get people that aren't sure and that aren't clear and that they have a lot of questions, and they'll be able to get them over the hump. And sometimes getting them over the hump, Harrison, is this is not right for you,
Yeah.
And so I teach my team, and especially my sales team, that sales is about opening relationships and not about closing deals,
I love that. Yeah.
And Dallas, by the way, I currently live in Miami Beach, and my team is based in Dallas mostly, and most of my buildings are based in Dallas, and most of my events are in Dallas. So I lived in Dallas. I don't know if you know this, but I lived in Dallas from 2008 to 2024.
Okay. No, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So Dallas is my core.
That's your
Like, why
home
do I
base.
live in Miami Beach? Because I could afford to live in a really beautiful place.
Yeah.
And I got tired of the Dallas winters and the Dallas summers. And I traded it for a hot and humid place 11 months out of the year where I have a beach in my backyard.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I actually didn't know you're from Dallas. So that's awesome to know. The goal, the mission, my goal, my mission. I mean, I'm originally from Detroit. I traded the cold winters in Detroit to the get to me warm winters in Dallas and moved down here. And my mission is to just find people that really want to dominate Dallas. I feel like Dallas is literally the mecca right now of business. Miami's definitely probably the mecca of art and entertainment, I would say. But if you're looking to do business and especially real estate specifically, like it's one of the best, hottest markets in the entire.
And it,
I hate to use the word hot because we've been hot for a long time. It's just one of the best markets there is with the stock exchange coming here. We got the FIFA World Cup coming this summer. So much going on in Dallas. So I feel like the time is right. I would say there's a lot of migration that's happened in the last 5 years that I've seen a lot of growth from a cultural standpoint too. A little bit about our events. Like my event is tagline is make networking fun again. So take Bill Walsh and Coachella and imagine they had a baby, and that's pretty much like the best way I could describe an Elev8 Event Series event. So we've been on this mission now I've really been I was thinking about it, really 4 years. I've been doing events for 10 years for real estate, specifically the first 6 years, but then I've been doing events now for 4 years and been on this mission to just make these like the most awesome, coolest events, specifically in Dallas, because I want to dominate Dallas first and then take them nationwide. So I always ask people about events and I love that you're in Dallas because I think there's a lot of synergies that we can.
Yeah, I mean, look, in multifamily real estate, I teach a very simple recipe about how to select the best markets. And one of them is you need to be in a landlord and business friendly environment. And the second one is you need to be in a place where population is growing faster than the national average. And the third one is you need to be in the place where jobs are growing faster than the national average. And Dallas meets those criteria every year in a row, top 5. And so it's no secret why, like, I've owned over 11,000 units, Harrison, apartment units, over 87 buildings, and 75% of them have been in Dallas and still are.
Wow. Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk more off air about, just some stuff that you got going on this year and how we can collaborate and I can bring people and drive people to
for
your.
sure.
I do always have one last question, Brad, and you have to do it. Everybody does it. It's not weird. Nothing bad's gonna happen to you. I need you to just close your eyes for a second and picture your dream event, like paint with whatever brush that you want, your dream event. What does it look like? Who's coming? Who's there? What are we doing?
It's so interesting, and I still have my eyes shut, but I'll open them. But I had a lot going through my mind,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
And let me just share this with you. My first event in Dallas was 100% free, and I had 142 people there. I got to a point where I had almost 1,000 people at my events, and that was my dream. If you had asked me that like 5 years ago, I would have said I want to have 1,000 people at my events. I want to be with the biggest and the best names in the industry, and I've done that. I've had Grant Cardone at my events. I've had Jesse Itzler at my events. I've had Damon John at my events. I've had Ed Milet, Robert Kiyosaki, like not just real estate, but I've had the biggest names in Pace Morby has been at my events. I've had the biggest names in real estate and the biggest names in business at my events. And honestly, and this is something personal that you didn't ask, but I kept asking myself, what's next? What's next? What's next? And now what I like to do is I like to do smaller, more intimate events. So like my target event in Dallas that's coming up in March of 2026. Here's what I'm imagining. 200 people, no DJ. I've had the DJs, man. I've had the spinning balls. I've had dancers on stage. And my ideal event this year in 2026 is 200 people with Brad Sumrok is the only instructor, no DJ, not a lot of bells and whistles. I still make it fun. Like learning doesn't have to be boring. Like I'm a high energy guy. I think you could pick up on that. But it's 200 people in the room that really want to learn the step-by-step process of investing and scaling their apartment business. Like if you want to get started, like if you're a corporate guy like I was, and you're looking for a way out of the rat race and you want to investigate or discover if apartment buildings could get you out of the rat race, that's who I want in my room. If you're doing single family or Airbnb or smaller multi-unit deals like 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit deals, but you want to do 40-unit, 50-unit, 60-unit deals, that's who I want in my room. Okay. So like I've kind of went full circle here, man. Like I'm looking for, what's that?
I said, strip it down. Get rid of the bells and whistles. We're stripping it down for Brad's event.
Yeah. And maybe one day again, like I'll have those events because honestly, they're fun, man. They're fun.
Yeah.
I had people up on the tables and we're learning and everything, but it's like right now, my ideal event is having 200 people in the room that really want to discover the benefits of apartment investing and learn from someone like me that's been doing it for 23 years, that's done over 11,000 units. And the thing I'm more proud of than my own success is the success of the people that I've mentored for 15 years. And some of the biggest and best apartment operators out there right now got their, that's my ideal event right now is when I close my eyes, it's just like, I want it to be more intimate, more connection, more authentic. Let's get down and talk about actionable strategies. I'm not a life coach. I probably could be. I've been with Tony Robbins for 6 years, but I'm not here to just motivate and get people excited. I'm here to actually transfer 23 years of valuable information in my head that you can't get on AI or Chat GPT. I know you could Google or GPT, like how to underwrite an apartment, how to buy an apartment, how to renovate an apartment, but you're not getting it from the guy who's done it and who's transferred that information to people.
100%, Brad. There's so much to be said about experience and learning from somebody. Again, I always say, and I'll end with this, like if you're out there watching this and you're thinking about either joining a company or getting in a coaching program, ask yourself if you would trade places with that person and then make your decision whether you want to invest in coaching, training, or mentorship. So Brad, hey, let's go. I love it. I'm coming to that event for sure. I want to learn some more about how to make money on apartment buildings. That's one thing I haven't done in real estate. So thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure I'll see you soon and just appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you too.